The first time we fired up our machines in the old basement, it felt like sparking a revolution. A web of power cords snaked across the concrete floor, connecting a cluster of second-hand computers. The air hummed with electricity and ambition, a scent that was part engine oil, part nervous excitement. I was surrounded by my closest companions, Sarah, the coding whiz who lived more in binary than English, and Jake, a marketing savant with an infectious enthusiasm for our fledgling startup. Both were as excited and anxious as I was. "Do you think we're biting off more than we can chew, Harrison?" Sarah asked one night. We were hunched over our respective screens, the digital glow painting our faces in spectral light. "Maybe," I admitted. "But if we don't, we'll always wonder, what if?" It was this shared drive that fueled us, that kept our fingers dancing over keyboards and our minds spinning ideas like a perpetual motion machine. We subsisted on a diet of instant noodles, cold pizza, and an unhealthy amount of caffeine. I remember one day when Jake collapsed onto the couch, brandishing a coffee mug like a trophy. "This is it, Harrison. This is how we win, coffee and craziness." He fell into an exhausted slumber moments later. Our days flowed into nights and back into days. Every challenge we faced, whether it was a coding issue Sarah couldn't crack or a branding block Jake was wrestling with, was met with tenacity and camaraderie. There was an evening when Sarah nearly lost a week's worth of work. She was on the verge of tears when Jake and I rallied around her. We worked together, like a well-oiled machine, and managed to recover a significant chunk of her lost code. The basement, with its high-powered machines and caffeine-fueled inhabitants, was our mission control, a place of relentless innovation and a testament to our shared dream. The dream of not just surviving in the tech world, but reshaping it. "We're crazy, you know," Jake said one day, looking around the neon-lit basement. "But we're the right kind of crazy," Sarah added, looking up from her screen. Indeed, we were. And that's what fueled our journey from the very beginning. The day we clinched our first major client was one I'll never forget. I remember the call. The static on the line, the heavy pause, then the words, "We're in." I swear my heart skipped a beat. In that moment, our little basement operation was suddenly thrust into the limelight. We were no longer a fledgling startup, but a player in the tech industry, and the realization was dizzying. Suddenly, there were interviews, press releases, and endless meetings. I watched as the small team I'd come to think of as family rapidly expanded, our office growing from the basement to a sprawling open-plan space, buzzing with innovation and excitement. Each new face brought a fresh perspective, a different energy. There was Maria, a brilliant engineer who joined us from a tech giant, bringing with her a wealth of knowledge and a love for coffee that rivaled Jake's. She fit in from day one, her lively debates with Sarah becoming a common sight. One day, as she worked on optimizing a piece of code, she turned to me, her face lit by the glow of the screen. "Harrison, I've never been in a place like this. It's different. But in a good way." I smiled. It was the culture we had worked hard to create. A place where anyone could voice their ideas, where we worked not just as colleagues, but as friends united by a common dream. Through it all, I tried to stay true to the values we'd established in the basement. Even as we grew, it was essential to me that our roots remained visible, that the heart of our operations continued to pulse with the same relentless drive that powered our late-night coding sessions and brainstorming frenzies. Jake, ever the voice of wisdom masked in humor, once looked around the buzzing office and mused, "We're not in Kansas anymore, are we, Harrison?" He was right. We were in new territory, but we were ready. Through every meeting, every late-night code check, every office party, we remembered where we started. It was our shared history, our collective memory, that continued to drive us forward, to reach for the stars we'd once thought were beyond our grasp. The email arrived on a Tuesday afternoon, a sleek corporate logo nestled in my inbox among routine project updates and meeting requests. An email that held a proposition so vast, it felt like holding my breath underwater. "Let's meet for lunch," it said, signed off by the CEO of a tech titan whose products Sarah had once dissected in our basement. "I have a proposal for you." My heart pounded as I walked into the sleek, high-rise building of the tech giant. The meeting was cordial, the food exquisite, but my appetite was lost to the enormity of the conversation. The offer was laid out before me, billions of dollars in exchange for our passion project. I remember the silence after the CEO's proposal. The bustling cityscape outside the glass walls felt distant, muted. "Think about it, Harrison. This could set you, and your team, up for life," he said. But would it? The numbers were tantalizing, but the potential loss was daunting. Back at our office, the board was excited. They saw dollar signs, heard the cha-ching of the jackpot. "Harrison," the chairman said, leaning over the polished boardroom table, "this could be the best thing for our shareholders. This is a good offer." But my team, my friends, they weren't shareholders. They had different concerns, and they were valid. I'll never forget the look on Sarah's face when I shared the news, how her excitement turned into apprehension. "But, Harrison," she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, "what happens to our dream? To everything we built?" Jake, always the barometer of our collective mood, simply looked out the window, the city lights reflecting in his thoughtful eyes. "It's a hell of a crossroads, Harrison," he murmured. Indeed, it was. A crossroads that held the power to shape not only my future but that of the entire team and the company we had poured our hearts and souls into.